All right, welcome back. Today it's a catch-up weekend this weekend. Some reason I've got sick again, which is really annoying, and back on antibiotics. So this weekend I've decided to skip this weekend's racing. It's a really nice day, but all week I've had training, so I haven't been home until pretty much it's been dark every time I've been home this week and raining, so the birds haven't been out. And I've only just been coming in quickly, giving some food, so I've probably overfed them a bit this weekend too. And the birds, I haven't really had a chance up until this morning to have a look at all the birds and see kind of where they're at, because last weekend we had a very, very tough race. It was far worse than anyone would have predicted on that. It wasn't meant to be that bad anyway. We took some pretty heavy losses, so if I knew it was going to be that bad, I probably would have put about half the amount of birds in. But what can we do? So my plan is for this weekend, it's a long weekend for me. I've got an RDO on Monday. Racing is tomorrow. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to go through these birds individually, check their condition, because I do have two that have come back injured. Most of the birds pretty good so far. I handled a couple this morning, but I'm going to go through, and there's some birds are going to sit aside for next year's racing, and then there's a couple, well, most of the rest of them will go into the next two races, which will probably be the 2nd and the 16th. I'll give them a week in between, because one week's like 380, the next one's like 400 and something, so we'll put those ones on there. There's a one or two, like I said, that are injured that we do need to check to see how they are going. They looks like the Falcons might have got them on that last race, so we'll just double check. Might not be too bad, but we're going to have like 2-3 weeks before they're back on the truck again anyway. And the other birds that are all good, tick all the boxes, that are happy and are going to go in that race, continue on in the team this year with the rest of the races. I say there's 2 more, but there could be plenty more, just depending on how the birds fare. We're going to have to pick our races and sort of pick and choose the birds as well. So from now on, we'll be a little bit, a little bit lighter on an entry. So we'll see how we go. But I do plan on tossing the birds that we do select to continue on today. We won't toss them tomorrow because it's race day. But again, on Monday, I'll take them out for another 20-kilometre toss just to get them moving. So we'll go through, figure out where the birds are at, and see who we've got and who we haven't got. I want to leave this section open and free because we do have, I think there's like 8 babies over there that do need to come across into this section in the next week or 2, depending on how they travel. And these are the birds that are going to be raced next year, because the weather has really changed and it's really wet and there's a lot of water birds. I'm hoping we can get a small break and give the birds extra time to get themselves used to it, because we don't have enough time with the molting and everything else that goes on. So we'll go through and we'll have a look at the birds, and we'll see where we're at. So there is a couple of birds in here that have done really, really well, which this little one here, one of the really late breds, but definitely in there in the top couple of pigeons. So we may keep racing that one. The only reason with this one is why I want to keep racing it, probably go out to at least 400, is we can breed more of these ones, no problem. We've still got the parents and things of that. We have one Veenstra that come back as well. He'll keep moving forward. He's a beautiful big bird. The only one out of Rosetta that's still here, so they didn't fare too well in those tough races. It sort of knocked them out a bit. He might have paired up to this little hen up here. She's not one of my racing birds or flying, but I'm just sort of sorting through them this morning. I want to pair her up with Leo, but it looks like she's paired up to this Veenstra. So one thing I am thinking about doing is potentially for these last couple of races, now that most of them are mature and interested in the other sex, is I may even put them into boxes and just try and motivate them for these last few races, just because we're running out of birds. I still have 2 of the hop auction birds here that made it back the next day after the race, which is, I'm pretty happy. I'm not too concerned about that because it was a tough race. So this little, I think it's a cock bird, I think he'll keep racing on. And then the only other hop auction bird that I got back is the recessive red. And I think I'll sit her aside for until next year. We might just do a little bit of breeding out of her this year. Her mum, I think all the races, her mother is a race bird still. So I think the mother to this one has been in the top 10 of the federation where this one's from every race, I think, this season. So really, really good bird. So I'm hoping that this hen will do the same in her as a 2-year-old, because Frank, who I got it from, he said, look, she's going to be really good as a 2-year-old. So I think we'll keep her back, and I might try and pair her up with a cock that I've got that might suit her quite well. We might do a few rounds later on this year. For a colour, really, really good, because you will notice, same thing as last year, once we go through a few races, every single pigeon with the difference in coloration is gone. Pieds are gone, white flights are gone, so she's the only colour. This one is an exception because he got, one of the ones got attacked by the falcon in the race before, and he's ready to race again. He's just sat out 2 weeks, but he's ready to go again. The muleys generally fare reasonably well, but both the muleys didn't come back from the last race, and Speedy Blue didn't come back from that last race either. So the colours didn't do too well at all, which is really sad because I do enjoy the colours, but they just don't last. But this big Veinster cock, he is interested in all the girls, so we might be able to motivate him. I think, given he come back, I think he did come back on the day actually on that tough race, so there might be some hope for this little guy. Give him a bit of motivation, he might be a little bit quicker. And the blacks doing really well. So both of these, this one come back the following day, and this one here is the cock that we clocked. So we got 2nd club, and I think it was around about 61st federation. So not super results. We got pushed onto the 2nd page of results for the first time ever, I think, which is interesting. But yeah, we'll see how we go with that. We'll just keep chipping along, but the bird's doing pretty well. Who else we got here that's doing pretty well? I'd say most of the birds here are quite good birds. There's a daughter of Shock. She was one of the, in the first few birds home as well, which is really good to see. And the ugly hen, she was 2nd bird home, which is good. I think she's starting to shine, like I mentioned in other videos. I think she just needs those tougher and longer races. Short ones she's just way too slow at, so she will most likely keep going on as these races get a bit tougher, and hopefully she'll do quite well. And then we got the only baby out of Apache that's still here, when he was paired up to Storm, and she's actually quite a nice little hen, that one, so we may sit her aside. I don't have too many of Storm left these days, but you know, when she does lay, she lays alright. But I think some of the other birds are really starting to outdo those original lines, which is good. That, like, there is a silver lining to what's going on. We've got a few birds like that original cock that I showed you, this one here. Let's get a nice close up on him. A bit blurry, but I only bred 2 of these, and one of them was sorry, I had to cough, but one of them was ripped apart by the falcons 2 times, so he was significantly disadvantaged, so he didn't come back from one of the races. But he did make it to like the 2nd race or so, where this one here's been there all the time. So really interested to see if we do send this one maybe to another 2 races, and then we'll just see how we go with it. But that one, the pairing and mating of that's doing really well. And the most exciting one is my little tough hen here. She made it back on the 3rd day from this race, but she had been attacked by a falcon again. If you do remember, she got her throat completely ripped open. There was food coming out of it in one of the tosses. She is the youngest pigeon in this team. You can see she's still hasn't really got her full coloration yet, but she has been, I would say, probably the best pigeon in my books so far this year. You know, she's not clocking, but she's turning up every single day. She's handling the massive big jumps, and she's even coming back in those really, really tough races, and she's handling being ripped apart by falcons and still coming home. She's done that twice, so very tough little hen. I would say she's going to sit out till next year as well. I really want to see her potential as a 2-year-old, and then hopefully we can get her on some longer races. She's been out to 278, and she pretty much just jumped right out to that, no problems, and she's been doing really well. Same with a few of the other ones. So that's basically it anyway. We'll go through and sort those out, but there is, although we have a lot of losses, this is all we got. There is certain birds, pairs that are producing babies that are just really hard to lose. So they're sort of our main focus, I think, going forward. We'll just have a little bit of a look over here, because I've got 83 and my little Nearly hen over here. It's a shame that I did lose both of her sons, but I was surprised that her baby's done so well, because she was paired up to King, and you know, King was okay. He had one baby that was all right, but as soon as the races got to a certain distance and they got a little bit too tough, they just dropped off, which I found last year is what happened with all the Vanderbilts. They just, as soon as you get those really tough days, they just don't handle it. So where this little hen, she's doing quite well, so we'll continue on with her. But you know, basically all the crosses of her and King are gone, which I was kind of expecting. I was surprised that we actually even clock one, to be honest. And Big 83, he's just sitting up here on some eggs. These will probably hatch in a week's time or so, not too far away now. I have to check if they're actually fertile, but haven't not had any time this week. So we'll just keep chipping away, and then we've got birds in here I'm sort of still sorting through. We've got a patchy Rosetta. We need to figure out who we're going to pair them up to. We've got Bondi as well, she's there. Oh no, that's New Moon. Bondi's on the other side with the baby. We'll go and have a look at that one now. And I've got a noisy aeroplane. In terms of my one loft birds, by the looks of it, they're all there. I had a bit of a look during the week, and all those one loft birds are still there, which is really good to see. And these birds in here are pretty exciting too. I actually haven't really shown you guys a lot of this, but these birds in here are going to be some really good birds for next year. Especially some of the birds that I was talking about just before that are doing really well. I've repaired those birds and starting to do the same thing again as well. So I'll go through and show you these ones shortly, because I'm pretty excited about some of these ones. Alright, so let's have a look at them all. So my tough little hen that I was showing you before, these are the full brothers and sisters to it. Next round we were really lucky to get 2 in this one. The first time we only got 1, so it shows you how good that little hen is. Only bred 1 baby and she's gone through so much. So I'm hoping I might do another round and then start getting these ones worked into the team, because I've got some really high hopes for these ones. These are very beautiful pigeons. Hopefully they do quite well, because the sister, I think, is a 2-year-old, and given a bit more time these ones will have, we should be able to take them all the way out to 800 or so, because the mother of these is a distance bird. So maybe that's the difference, and very feisty, which is pretty common for Leo's little babies. Look at him, hey? But maybe a hen. This one might be a cock. Maybe we'll see how they turn out. But keep a close eye on them. A few weeks and they'll be across with the rest of the birds. So these are the first round of New Sensations babies. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these ones turn out. They are looking really nice, and be interesting to see how these ones turn out, because the father, really nice bird. The father's half brother is doing super well in some of the initial races over in Victoria. So water crossings from the islands, King Island race, and a few other little bits and pieces going over there. So I've got a bit of hope that these are going to be, you know, tough birds that can handle those tougher conditions. This one might be a little hen, but both very beautiful pigeons, and all these ones got a bit of attitude. But look at these things. Whoa. I'm actually really excited for any of the babies that come off New Sensation or 3 of a kind. 3 of a kinds over here with Storm, but Storm doesn't really lay anymore, so I may look at splitting him up. I might bring him across so you can have a look at him. Here's a really nice looking pigeon. So I'm really keen to get a few babies at him, because without going into too much detail, really good genetics in this guy. Performing brothers and sisters, so that's pretty good to see. And then hopefully we bring that into ours and we'll get the same. So we may have to split him up shortly, because not it's not his fault, it's just that Storm, she's pretty much near the end of her breeding life, I think, and these new birds are definitely going to replace that for sure. So we'll go down over here first. We'll get back in our order. So this is our best kittle one. Really nice bird, this one. You know what, I would prefer no white on there, but you know, you can't be too picky. It's not that I'm, you know, I just don't like getting to a point where we are now and we don't have anything left. But he's a bit of a feisty one, this one. He's a beautiful pigeon. Probably won't let me stay still to get a good shot of him, but I'm really impressed with these so far. These might actually be the key to getting getting best kittles to a race. We did get one of them to a race, but I think this might be a little bit better, but yeah, it's a bit hard. We'll have a look at him a bit more when he gets older, and when we take him across to the loft and start loft lining. But yeah, we'll see how he goes. I'm not saying that the white's a disadvantage. I just, like I said, we get to this time of the year, into the race season, and anything with white on it disappears really quickly. So the unrun cocks in here with Bondi, and they have one little baby. It's a bit younger, this one. They were a little bit slower getting their act together, so we'll see how we go with that one. I actually might try and split these ones up after that. That was just more of a test, this one. And we got the eggs in here were fertile from the old boy, infertile, sorry, and I had to throw them out. So still undecided what we are doing there. This is where 83 was, but they've decided to come over in here as well. But I'll have to check her. She's probably going to lay again, actually. Beautiful hen. She is the mother of my Pattaya babies that are now, should be at Pattaya. I'll have to keep an eye on that. Mother of these two as well. And hopefully I feel better, and I might be able to get the birds out for a toss, but I don't feel too flash at the moment, but we'll get there. These are half brother and sister to the one of the cocks that's been doing really well. These will do equally as well. I think I've got a good feeling about them. Beautiful little pigeons. I might let these ones go through for another round as well. Little mosquito there. It's that time of year. They're looking all right. But yeah, we'll try and update these a bit more as we get through. But I think the quality definitely improving at each sort of season, so we'll get there slowly, I think. So I'll get a video up tomorrow and Monday as well. But stay tuned, because we're definitely making a step at a time. So I'll see you tomorrow.